Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're going to be talking about playing German battleships with torpedoes. Gneisenau, Scharnhorst, Odin, and Tirpitz are the ones that currently have it. We got a game in the Scharnhorst here. We're on the map, Shards Domination Mode game. Now, if you go by what you commonly see out there on the high seas, you would think the way to play these things is to drop anchor when the game starts and snipe, like you're in Iowa, parked on the moon. Unfortunately, that's not actually how you want to be playing these. It's kind of a misplayed ship. Ideally, you want to be moving forward. Now, that's easier said than done, especially at higher tiers, because usually at higher tiers, everybody drops anchor and parks on the moon. And unfortunately, if you're the only guy trying to move forward, well, the game ain't going to last very long for you, and you're not going to have a good time. But the idea is, I always kind of view this as like a wind-up toy, these German battleships. You kind of wind it up and it goes forward until it's stopped. And what stops it? Either moving into crossfires or the threat of destroyers. Now in this particular match, we're in a tier 5, tier 6 game, so we're top tier. But look at this, we got a destroyer moving forward into the base and a cruiser actually moving forward. So we got 2 destroyers per side in this particular game. I'm not really that concerned about destroyers right off the opener, just because my destroyer is moving forward. Now, if he bugs out like he would normally do, then we got to kind of put on the brakes and reevaluate the situation. But he's moving forward, so potentially he's going to spot any destroyer. And if he opens up fire with the guns, the cruiser opens fire with his guns, and I open fire with my guns, well, that destroyer on the enemy team is not going to last very long. So, not that worried about destroyers right off the opening play. We've already spotted all the ships over here, though. Fuso and a pair of cruisers. So what's stopping me from moving forward? We got to keep an eye on B. One of the keys to Shards is the ability to hit crossfires right off the bat from B into C, C into B, or A into B, and B into A. So that's kind of what you're always looking for here. But usually, the guys that are playing the center spawn are going to be focusing on the ships that are right in front of them. So as long as you're aware of the possibility of that crossfire coming in, and you're keeping an eye on it, then you kind of got your bases covered. We kind of whacked the Pensacola there a moment ago, and that's what we're kind of trying to do with the Scharnhorst. We got low caliber guns, really fast reload on this particular build. I got the Scharnhorst Azure Lane Commander. I think the reload, keep an eye on it, it's like 16 seconds on this build, pumping out the damage. Now, low caliber guns, battleships, we're not going to be whacking them very often, but cruisers, especially if they're going to go broadside and just kind of park on the island like that guy tried to do, dangerous. Scharnhorst will chew you up. So now I'm looking at this Fuso, I'm looking at the cruiser, I'm thinking if they swing hard around that island, well, I'm just going to go ahead and whack them. But I can see them pulling up. I'm keeping an eye on the map. They're both pulling north. So then I'm going to turn my attention over here. We got crossfire shots. This is what we're talking about earlier. This Scharnhorst and his teammate Buddy, they're in a division, those 2 Scharnhorsts. They're pushing into B very aggressively. I like the play that they're doing, but they're not really paying attention over here. And that's kind of the advantage if you understand how to play Shards and you understand that you have inherent crossfire shots built in, then you can be looking for these plays. So we're going to go ahead and start shooting him. He's going to take a salvo or 2 from us, and then he's going to wise up and be like, okay, this isn't going to work. So we're getting some resets on him there. We're going to be trying to shoot both these guys because you can see they're pushing into my team. But if we're going to start talking about German torpedo battleships, what exactly is the deal with these things? If you played against them, you know, you got the Gneisenau coming at you, the Scharnhorst, Tirpitz, or whatever, and you're in a battleship, you're in a cruiser, whatever, and they're closing in on you, you shouldn't understand that feeling of angst where you're like, if this thing gets too close to me, there's not a lot I can really do about it. And we're going to see some real bullying tactics as this match comes up. We're going to be taking on those ships in the north here as we clear these out. But going against these battleships, you really got to understand, I think the torpedo range on all of them is 6 kilometers. I might be wrong about that, but that's a good rule of thumb. It's certainly the case for the Scharnhorst, and I believe, frankly, all of them have 6-kilometer torps. But that means if they're getting within 10 kilometers, you got to start to sweat a little bit. 8 kilometers, okay, well, if you're moving into an 8-kilometer distance ship and he's moving into you, you're already within the torpedo range. So you got to understand that. And if you're within 6 kilometers, you're in danger zone. The code red alerts need to be going off. And you can see there, he's moving into us. 8.4 on the screen, 6 kilometers roughly to the target. I didn't see exactly what it was. But because he's moving into us aggressively, those torps are going to get to him very quickly. So we launch there, angle against him. He's the biggest threat. Fuso is blocked by the island. I'm hoping these guys swing around, but we're seeing them turn around on the map. They're kind of slow playing it up to the north there. So I'm primarily at this point in time just trying to defend myself against the Scharnhorst. He saw maybe I'm disengaging. He saw me angling. He's like, okay, I can't do much against him. Turns back down south to support his buddy, and as soon as he does that, we go ahead and whack him. And again, not massive damage. We can't get citadels, of course, on the Scharnhorst. Outstanding turtleback armor, and these guns certainly aren't going to penetrate that. But when we're going to aim against this, you can see we're aiming up, just mid-ship, going for as many hits as possible. Not accurate guns. So if we're aiming in the middle of the ship, we're just trying to get as many of those shells on target as possible. And we're getting, 6,000, 7,000 damage. Now, that's not too bad if we're getting reload off every 15, 16 seconds or whatever. So that forces him immediately, once he understands that now he put himself back in the crossfire, and we returned our attention to him. Okay, he's got to angle back towards us. And now we've kind of drawn his focus back here. So he's going to return some fire, get some decent shots there. Just as strong of a salvo as we got towards him. But we got some torpedoes coming here. Now look at this lander. He's coming over here crossfire. He might have been seeing me shoot at that Scharnhorst behind us, thinking, okay, he's not paying attention. Well, we're paying attention. We got our eyes on the map the entire time. And as soon as we get that shot off, wham, we get him in the citadel there. Still angling, still taking some damage, but nothing catastrophic. We got to understand we can absorb these hits. And we got 5 heals on this build. So, we take this 6,000, 7,000 damage hit once in a while. Not that big of a deal. Swing around here. We're flipping around like that fish. Classic torpedo action here where we're getting torps off both sides there. And that Scharnhorst should realize that there's torps coming in his direction there. Tried to get a shot off from that Leander just a moment ago, but he got just behind the island. And Scharnhorst realizes just a little bit too late. I don't know if he's angling against those torps coming in from behind, or if he just happened to be turning before our torps became visible. But the Asashio and me combined for a double crossfire torpedo strike, and that's a tough situation for him to be in. And now check this out. We got a Leander. He's going to be poking, or he's going to be sitting there in the smoke thinking, okay, he's fine. I'm in the smoke. Nothing can happen to me. Nobody can see me. And we got this Fuso over here. But check this out. Because we're drop spot here, we're behind the island. Well, we're going to be able to get in tight on these guys before they really see us. And when you get these battleships, these heavily armored battleships that are tough to damage when they're pointing at you, and they have torpedoes that have steep launch angles, you cannot let these things get close to you. Pain, suffering, and misery are in the forecast whenever you get this close. So Fuso, he's about 4.5 kilometers away. Go ahead and throw the torpedoes down. Whack them there. We're going to go ahead and fire, and ooh, yeah, 12k damage there. Not too bad. We get the high caliber. And we're turning in. We're mainly trying to protect ourselves here. We should be expecting torpedoes from the Leander. We should be expecting heavy salvos from that Fuso. But at this angle, maybe you can get 1 torpedo on us, maybe 2 at the most. Fuso going to have a real hard time damaging us. And check out target selection. We got an angled Fuso. We got a broadside Leander who's going to keep tempting himself and trying to fire these full salvos. Keep opening up that wide angle. And that when that broadside's there, we're going to keep whacking them. And we don't need to dev strike them in one shot. We can just keep applying that damage. 7,000 here, 3,000 damage there. Get the torps in the water. Create extra distraction for these guys. Now they got to be dodging torps, worrying about where my guns are, worrying about angling against those guns. There's a lot going on for these guys. And we're just continuing to push in. Leander goes down. And there's not a lot these guys can do. Look at this angle here. Fuso, he's doing a good job angling against us, but we're doing, a good enough job angling against him. He's going to have a real hard time. He's got about 15k damage. We got the secondaries going off. He's got the secondaries going off, but he's going to have a real hard time taking us down before we can take him down. So, at this point in time, we switch over to HE, recognizing that he's focusing on the angling, focusing on survivability. He's actually playing this sequence pretty well from, this little part here, doing a good job angling. If you're in these brawls, you want to first and foremost protect yourself and worry about doing the damage. Don't be swinging around trying to get that back gun in unnecessarily. Trying to sneak some torps in here. I recognize the health advantage, and I recognize the ship advantage that our team has and the cap advantage, so I'm not that worried about taking this out. I'm not even that worried about going down at that point in time. If he kills me, big deal. This game should be loss-proof at this point in time. We're just getting more torpedoes down here, just trying to make sure that we're limiting his options. Now he's got to dodge the torps, And by dodging those torps, he's got to swing around broadside. We go ahead and throw one more salvo down just for insurance, but we go ahead and whack him there and take him out, finish that game off. So that's a pretty good look at some brawling sequence with the German torpedo battleship, in this case the Scharnhorst. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. We got lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.